Hey everyone, welcome to another Mastering the Draw license application strategy video. I'm Garth Jenson with Huntin Fool, and today I'm just going to be talking to you about the tag allocation in New Mexico, and overall to pay attention to the amount of tags that are available in the draw, otherwise you might be drawn dead. So I'll kind of go through, like we mentioned earlier, the tag allocation percentages, the tag numbers and why they're important. And then I'll give you a brief example. We'll have a chart that you can look at. You can kind of see where that comes into play. New Mexico issues the overall number of tags on an 84-10-6% split. What that means is 84% of the permits are allocated to residents. Now that's a locked-in number. There has to be at least that many in the resident draw. So that's finite. There can be more than that, but there cannot be any less. Now, up to 10% of the overall number of tags can go in the outfitter draw and can be drawn in that. But understand that isn't up to. If there's not enough for there to be one tag in the outfitter draw and it's a fraction of a tag, you know, once you break out that split, then all of a sudden that will go back into the resident draw. And lastly, the unguided guys, the unguided non-residents, I should say, we get 6%. So if there's enough tags in that draw to warrant at least one tag, you know, being as it is 6% of that, then there will be that issued. But understand that isn't up to 6% as well. So if there's not enough to have a full tag issued in the non-resident draw, it'll be issued in the outfitter draw. So keep that in mind when you're applying and when you're looking at that. So we always get into this. Are there enough tags? How do I know if there's enough tags in the draw? Because quite frankly, they kind of created a mess in some of these species when they get looking at it, and you have that much of a split and that small of a split down to 6%. So overall tag numbers is what's going to dictate that. The one thing to make, kind of make a note of is not all the species have the same split. So most every species in the state, they split those out, those tag numbers, based off of a hunt. Not a species, not a unit, but it's based off of that hunt that you are applying for. So if you're applying for a deer in an area that has 40 tags, they're gonna break that out accordingly for that hunt. The only exception is sheep. Sheep, because there's so few tags for each individual hunt for sheep, they combine the species total and said there's X amount of tags for Rocky Mountain sheep, so we can divide that out. So regardless, there's not going to be one unit that is only for residents and non-residents, or one unit over here. Species as a whole for Rocky Mountain and desert go into it, and they had to combine all those so there'd be enough tags available overall to have enough for a non-resident have at least one tag in the draw, and the outfitter pool will have tags, and obviously the residents will have tags. Now, typically there's always going to be at least 2 tags in the outfitter draw. There's always going to be 1 tag in the non-resident draw off the current numbers. But sometimes there will be 2 tags in that non-resident draw for Rocky or for desert. But they had to combine the total, so basically when you go in and fill out your application for sheep, you're going to put down Rocky Mountain sheep as your first choice, desert sheep as your second choice, or vice versa, whichever is more important to you. And if you put a third choice on there, it's going to be a U. But in this circumstance, after you put that in, it's basically a hunt code for that species. And then after you put in that hunt code for that species, then what you're gonna do is put in your 3 choices. We always recommend put in the top units, because honestly, with there being so few tags, those top units, that's where the guys are gonna come out of anyways. And if you're gonna get lucky, you're gonna get lucky on one of those top tags, because when they're only talking about 1 or 2 tags in the draw, there's so many non-residents applying, that's where they're gonna come from. So anyways, that is the exception to the hunt number, and that's sheep. So I'll give you kind of some examples on this next slide of what I'm talking about as far as how many tags have to be available in order for you to apply for that hunt because you don't want to be drawing dead. So this is where the up to rule comes in. And when you look at this graph, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, number of applicants in the party. And what that number is below that is that's going to show if you apply as an individual or a group of 2, 3, or 4. And then the next one over, that's for the non-resident draw. That's how many tags have to be available overall for that hunt in order for you to apply with, the number of applicants within that party. So if you got a party of 3, you got to have 44 permits available or tags available for that hunt in order for there to be enough tags to where if your party application is drawn, you can get 3 of them. And then the next one over, obviously it's a smaller number, but that's because it's a 10% draw instead of a 6% draw. So there doesn't have to be as many tags in the outfitter draw to accommodate those number of applicants within that party. So just kind of looking at that, it's the first thing that jumps out at you is if you're only applying as an individual, there has to be at least 7 tags in there, or 13 if you're applying as just a non-resident and on the outfitter draw. That's just as an individual. So make sure you don't get caught off guard when you're going into the draw for New Mexico, because what can happen is New Mexico will let you apply for a unit that only has 5 tags available. They don't care. There's nothing in there that pops up and says you're ineligible to draw this tag. They let you put that on your application, but you're drawing dead. There is not a chance for you to draw that tag if you're applying for a unit even in the outfitter draw that has less than 7. And you better make sure there's more than 13, or at least 13, to apply if you're just applying the non-resident draw. So hope you found this clip useful and helpful when you go to apply for New Mexico this year. Remember, if there's any questions you have, put them in the comments below. And if you found this helpful, remember to subscribe.